Today we have Yvonne Sandomir, and she will be sharing a little bit about herself and her book, The Invisible Girl Memoir. Thanks for sitting down with me, Yvonne.
My pleasure.
In your book, you've dealt with a surprising amount of childhood and teen trauma. What inspired you to tell your story?
Really just to help other survivors. I knew from the age of 10 that I wanted to write about it. I knew I was overcoming some really difficult circumstances, but I couldn't get through any of it without therapy. So really, I'm hoping that by telling my story, it will help other survivors seek the help that they need from a licensed therapist.
Can you tell me about the book?
Sure, it's a transformational memoir about overcoming childhood trauma and breaking the intergenerational cycles of abuse.
Why is your story so important?
Because it's not just my story. There are 42 million other adult survivors of childhood sexual abuse, and that's just in the United States alone. That doesn't count the millions of children that are being abused right now that no one even knows about.
Would you share something about yourself that your readers don't know yet?
I'm a complete goofball. I love to laugh, I love to sing, I love to dance. I've auditioned for The Voice 3 times. If you see me driving, you'll probably catch me singing or dancing behind the wheel.
If you had the power to cure a disease of your choosing, what would it be?
It would be the disease of child sexual abuse that's rampant in this country. Sadly, 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 5 boys will become a victim of child sexual abuse before their 18th birthday. And shockingly, stranger danger does not apply. 90% of victims know, love, and trust their abuser.
Would anyone in your family disapprove of anything you've written?
Although I'm sure it hasn't been easy for them, I have all of their support. My mom, my brothers, and my dad, they all support me telling my truth. I'm sure some of it's not easy for them, but that's to be expected because it's always easier to hide behind lies than to bring the truth out to light. But they support me telling my truth.
Who has been the biggest supporter of your writing?
My husband's my biggest fan, but I have to say my therapist, Laura, she's the one that's really encouraged me to keep going when I wanted to give up, and there were lots of times that I wanted to give up. There were times I didn't think I had a story to tell. I didn't think anyone would care about my story, and she really inspired me and encouraged me to keep going and convinced me that I do have a story to tell.
If your book were made into a movie, which actors would play your characters?
That's my wildest dream, my biggest dream. Definitely Reese Witherspoon. We got the blue-eyed, blonde hair Southern girl thing going on for us. And Adam Driver, I would just find a role for him somewhere.
What part of the book did you have the hardest time writing?
Definitely the childhood scenes. That was really difficult for me, especially being a mom now and seeing how innocent my children are. Watching them grow up, that was really difficult. It was also difficult writing so openly and honestly about my own mistakes that I made as an adult. It's never easy to put yourself out on blast and tell everybody the mistakes you've made, but it's part of the story, it's part of my story. But it was probably one of the most difficult aspects of writing it.
Do you think you'll continue writing? If so, what is your next writing project?
Absolutely. I'm already working on my second project, which is a psychological thriller, and I also hope to publish a book of my poetry someday.
What do you hope that readers will take away after reading your book?
That it's okay to ask for help. Everyone deserves to heal from their trauma, everyone. And the only way to really accomplish that is to seek the help of a licensed therapist. So I hope that people reading will find the courage that they need to get the help to heal from their own traumas.
How long did it take you to write it?
I've really been writing the story since I was about 10 years old, but I started when I was 36, and it took me about 5 years and many, many endless nights to finish it.
Did your family know you were writing it as you were writing it?
Oh yeah, was very transparent about it, and they were very supportive. They know I have the right to tell my story and my truth, as do they. So they're aware of it, and they're very supportive.
Have you shared any of it with your family? If so, what were the reactions? If not, why?
No, I haven't. No one's read any part of the manuscript yet. I offered for my mom to read it, but only out of guilt, because I was concerned about how she would feel about how she's portrayed. But she's the one that reminded me that I have the right to tell my story, I have the right to tell my truth, and she supports it.
How did you get interested in writing in general?
I've been writing poetry since I was a kid. I've never really tried to write anything else until I was about 36, and I finally decided to sit down and write my story, but it all started with poetry from when I was a kid.
So you just branched out into greater things.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.